All right, let's try that again. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Purpose of tonight's meeting is to help answer any questions you might have for the upcoming summer camp. I'm going to be admitting folks as they come online. So as we get started, we're just going to go through and call on you individually. If you have multiple questions, you're welcome to stay for the entire question and answer session. We'll try to get everybody's questions answered in a timely fashion. And then this recording will be posted to our YouTube channel so you can review any of the questions going forward there. So without further ado, the first person on my screen would be Justin Miller. Justin, do you have a question for us this evening?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I guess mine's probably an oddball one, but I think it's just myself and my son. We signed up as provisional. So I guess I was just curious if we know like how is that gonna work, and would my son be joined with another troop, or are we gonna kind of be on our own in our own little area, and how might that work?
Sure, great question. Provisional troop. So what's going to happen is anybody that signs up to be participating in the provisional, all of those participants together will be formed into a troop. So you will essentially make up a brand new troop for camp in week 6 at Bear Paw. So we will have 2 adult leaders at a minimum provided. If the provisional troop goes larger than, let's say 20 scouts, we're going to add some more unit leaders to that as well. But you as an adult attending provisional, you don't have any specific responsibilities other if you want to hang out in the campsite. You can follow your son around, see what he's doing, but you wouldn't necessarily be asked to do any specific troop leadership because that's going to be provided by camp. So
cool.
Does that answer your question?
Yep, no, that's good. And then in some of them require the swimming or to be a swimmer. So if my son gets his swimming merit badge this summer before camp, does he have to bring like is it like just bringing the blue card, or do we have to have it plugged in on the website, or just how do we confirm that, or is it just a test at the beginning of camp and it's not really the badge itself?
So you have a couple of options. You can take a test with a certified BSA person to administer, a lifeguard, somebody qualified to administer the test. And if you go to bearpaw.camp, in the header, there's a unit swim classification form, it's called. You would need that certified person to sign off on that swim test before camp. If you couldn't find that person or you couldn't do that, you're welcome to take the swim test before camp, but we wouldn't be able to accept just having the swimming merit badge. We would need that form filled out prior to coming to camp or taking the swim test when you arrive at camp.
Okay, and when you arrive, you mean like Sunday afternoon type thing?
Correct.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome, thanks for your question. Next on my list, I have Jenny.
That's me, Andy Schwartz here. I'm just listening in first time, so nothing in particular as far as a question goes.
Okay, sounds good. If you have a question, we'll try to circle back. Just raise your hand or let us know in the chat if you do have something, and we'll come back to you. Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Next across, I have Dewey Jones. Dewey, how are you?
They're doing well. We recently got information about T-shirts will be available as an extra order item. And order starts April 1st. Is there a deadline on the shirt orders?
Yes, we're going to accept T-shirt orders through, I believe we have posted May 1st. Is that correct, Laura?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
May 1st.
Is that to get the customized ones or just shirts? or shirts in general?
That's the customized ones.
Yeah.
There will be, excuse me. There will be just blank t-shirts in the trading post that are not personalized for purchase as well.
Okay. I will have to get hopping.
All right.
That's all I,
Okay.
unless there's any significant changes to past procedure, that's the only question I had.
Nope. Next, I have Christy. Christy, do you have a question for us tonight?
Yes, I do. We are doing the Weeblos camp, and we have 3 children in our family. 2 of them are Weeblos. However, our youngest one is only a Lion, and both my husband and I are attending. Are we able to bring him with us?
That's a great question. I'm actually going to defer to Scott on this one.
So Christy, what I'll do is I will follow up with you offline and discuss some options there. Certainly understand your situation, and then we'll be able to figure something out for you.
Okay, thank you on that. And then my other question, we are coming from Samoset Council for your camp. Is there anything in addition that needs to be brought paperwork wise or to make you aware of, since we are not part of Bay Lakes Council?
The only thing we're asking for out of council units is a certificate of insurance that's provided by your council. So if you request that from your council office, they should be able to provide that to you. And then you could send that to us ahead of time or bring it with you when you arrive at camp. But that's the only thing that I can think of additional that we would be requiring.
Okay, those were my 2 questions, I believe. Thank you.
Absolutely. Next, I have Jeff Cohn. Jeff, do you have a question for us?
Hi, this is actually Shannon Cohn. I don't know how to change the name. I'm kind of silly.
No worries.
So I'm attending Webelos camps as well, and I have mixed Arrow of Light and first-year Webelos Scouts. I was wondering if, we're also an out-of-district unit, do we need to sign up as a cohort, or can the kids do individual activities based on their interest?
They can do individual activities based on their interest. We will be offering one camp-wide pin that everybody will participate in, but each individual scout would be able to select in the registration 2 pins that they were personally interested in participating in.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
This is our first time at camp, so I think that's all I've got so far. I'm just going to listen, and I might raise my hand again later.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next across, I'm Bruce. Do you have a question for us? Bruce, do you have a question? All right, we will come back to Bruce. Christy Knauer, do you have a question for us?
Yes, I have a couple of them, but I'll be listening to see if you'll be talking about them first.
Well, our plan is to answer questions as they come in. So do you have one that you wanted to start us off with, or that you haven't gotten an answer for?
I got the t-shirt one answered.
Okay.
In years back when we used to go to camp, they used to put, and they also did this at Gardner Dam, they would call it Bear Paw Prints, and it would tell you the activities that were going on during the day, each day of camp. Could you put that on the website ahead of time so that we could see what's going on to let our boys know?
Sure. So you're talking about specific camp activities, very specifically Bear Paw.
Yes.
Okay. I believe I believe Pat has something along those lines, so I will touch base with him and see
Okay.
if we can get that posted ahead of time.
Okay, then can you also post the menu for the 2 weeks ahead of time?
Yes, the plan is to have the menus posted well in advance. We're in the process of finalizing that, both for patrol cooking and for the dining hall. So
Okay,
we do intend to have those posted well in advance.
okay. Are we gonna do the polar bear swim this year? That was
Great
something
question.
they would do early in the morning.
I know we are planning to do the mile swim for sure.
Okay,
I will follow up with Pat and touch base with you offline specifically about polar bear.
okay. That was brought up by some of our leaders.
Sure. I will get back in touch with you specifically on that. I don't have a direct answer this evening to know for sure if that's happening.
Okay, and the other one is, can we do meals in our campsite and which ones can we do?
You have the option to choose any meals you wanted to do in your campsite. So if it's very customizable. So if you wanted to do, only breakfast, you could do breakfast all week. If you only wanted to do one day, you could do 1 day of meals in your campsite. It's really up to you. On the registration contact screen in your reservation. So if you're the registration contact, you would be able to select those options. Or you could work with myself or Laura and we can get you set up for the specific schedule that you want to do. So you have the option to customize it however works best for your unit.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Next on my screen, I am showing Matt Polzer. How are you, Matt?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing awesome. Thanks for being here tonight.
Oh yeah, no, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. A couple questions that are coming to mind off the top of my head, and some of them you guys have partially answered, but I just want to kind of reconfirm and make sure I know what I'm doing.
Yep.
One of them was related to if we've got partial week attendees. I haven't gone in the last week or so to the registration, but I seem to recall when I was in registration originally setting up names that it didn't look like there was an option to set up an adult or a scout for attending partial week if they're not going to be there all week. As of right now, I don't know that I have any scouts that are partial week, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have at least 2 or 3 or maybe more adults that are only going to be partial week. And I was trying to figure out if there's anything special that I need to do to get them signed up that way.
Sure. Actually, I'll let Laura answer that question, but to start with, there is a registration type for partial week adult, but I will let Laura explain kind of the process specifically.
Yeah, so there is a sign up for it on the online registration portion. Depending on the session you're in, it might be something that you need to contact me directly to add those participant spots because of the session capacities at this point. But there is a way. And then what we need to do is just have them give you the information as far as what days they are attending, whether it's like Monday through Wednesday and that sort of thing.
Okay. So that actually led into another question. I know last year we weren't at Bear Paw last year. We were at a different camp, but they had a rule that was more or less that if you were going to be partial week, you could only arrive, you could depart any day you want, but you could only arrive on certain days. Like they basically said you either had to arrive on Sunday, the first day, or you could arrive on Wednesday. And those are the only 2 arrival days that they would allow. Is for Bear Paw, from what it's sounding like, is it pretty much open-ended at this point that if someone needed, show up on a Tuesday and leave on Friday, that they could do that as long as we have it set up with you guys?
Yeah, so that was part of we did something similar to that. It was part of our COVID mitigation policies.
Right.
In reducing, kind of visitors in camp. Right now, we're progressing in a more flexible manner. We're not restricted by that at this point. Obviously, as we've all experienced over the last 2 years, the COVID situation kind of fluctuates, but as we're progressing right now, we do not have those restrictions. So if they could only come on Tuesday, they're welcome to come and go as needed based on their schedule.
Okay, perfect. One of the other questions I had, I think, was also more for Laura, because I think she had replied to me about something with this in the last few weeks. But our troop did, we were fortunate enough to meet our stretch goal for Friends of Scouting. And I know we've got that camp credit, but I just wanted to reconfirm. It sounded like from what you said that the only way we really apply that is just to apply it to an actual participant on the registration, right? It isn't something that it's not something where like we come to camp and we can have 150 or whatever the amount is. I think it was $150 available to use like at the trading post or something like that. We need to actually physically apply it to a participant, to a name, so to speak.
Yes, that is correct. So any Bay Lakes Council unit that has reached their FOS stretch goal or base goal, what they need to do is they need to contact me with the name of the participant that they would like that credit applied to. We do it ahead of time and only towards registration. It doesn't get transferred to any like trading post credits this year.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to, that's what I thought. I just wanted to double check and make sure. And the date you needed that by was it the 15th of April, if I remember?
You could do it as long as it's before June 1st is fine.
Okay.
Just so
I'll
that
try,
we have everything.
I'll try to get it to you
before.
sooner rather than later. I mean, at this point, we'll probably just apply it to a person and then just adjust everyone's individual costs accordingly.
Certainly.
The only other thing that came to mind right now was, and I don't know that this is going to be a question that you guys really have an answer to, but historically, what are the odds that a merit badge like shotgun shooting that has a pretty small max participant level would open up to additional participants? The only reason I ask is that I tried to get ahead of the game and have a bunch of our scouts confirm badges that they wanted, and I was able to get a number of them signed up, but we had we had a scout that missed a meeting and wanted to take shotgun shooting, but the 2 slots that have actual other scouts from our troop in it are already full. And I had, told them that I would keep checking to see if anyone would drop out and I would try to slip them into the position. But in the event that nothing opens up, I'm just curious about what the options are for if there are additional scouts that want to take a badge like that and they're already full. I don't know what the rules are in terms of if you have to be at a max head count or what exactly.
So we can take a look at that, Matt. Actually, really it's set up based on staff, and shotgun being an individual kind of shooting station where, it's different than rifle in that, we don't have eight spots on the line for them to participate in. But it's something that Scott, myself, and Laura can take a look at offline and see if we can either start a waiting list situation or maybe recruit some of our shooting sports committee if we see that there's that demand with a waiting list, and try to, for specific weeks at least, maybe open up another session. So certainly something we can look into, and we'll run the numbers and see if that makes sense. And if we do make some sort of change, we'll circle back and let you know.
Okay, and yeah, Scott it looks like had posted something too about possibly just sending him the name. The reason I was asking is that he has a few friends that are in a certain time block, and his opinion was, well, if I can get into that time block, great, and if not, then maybe I'll just try to find a different badge to take. So
sure,
Scott, I can get you the name just to see if that's an option. But yeah, perfect. I just wanted to ask. Just
yep.
I know there's always a chance that someone might drop out, so I'm trying to check the registration somewhat regularly to see if there's if anything changes.
Right. And it's something good for us to look at as well. If we're already maxed out on all sessions, there's obviously a demand there, and we can look at seeing, like I said, if there's options for us to maybe open up more sessions. So it's a great question.
Yep, that's perfect. I think the last time I looked, I think the 2 morning sessions were full already, and I think it was only the afternoon session that had slots left.
Okay.
All right, that's all I've got. Thank you, guys.
You bet. Sounds good. The only other name that I have on, I have somebody in the waiting room. Dave, do you have any specific questions, or were you just here to help answer questions for Gardner Dam?
Just here to answer questions on Gardner Dam.
All right, sounds good. Bruce, I know that I called on you before, just wanted to circle back and see if you had any other questions. All right, we can try again later. Justin, your hand is up. Do you have another question?
Yes, just one other question. My son had signed up for the Wilderness Survival Merit Badge, and it said to bring a survival kit. And so I was just curious if there's anything that should be in there. Like, I mean, I'll let him put together his own, but just like, is there any required things to be in it?
Yeah, you should take a look at the Wilderness Survival Merit Badge pamphlet. It's going to explain in there what needs to be part of that kit, I believe. So whatever it explains in there is what he should be bringing to camp.
Okay, sounds good. I'll do that. Thank you again.
You bet. Next, I have Shannon. I see your hand. I had Tracy Weisner come in before that. So Tracy, do you have any questions?
I don't. I just wanted to listen to anybody else's questions that might have come up. Sorry, I joined late.
No, no problem. No problem at all. This is being recorded, Tracy, so will be posted to our YouTube channel. So if there are any questions that you missed, you'll be able to watch it back. Shannon, what questions do you have?
Hi, again, this is for Webelo's level at Gardner Dam. I do have a scout that's going to be needing to leave early on the Saturday night. We're signed up for the Friday through Sunday session 4, I think it is. Is there anything special that they need to do to leave early that night before?
So you would just need to alert the camp staff, the office staff at camp, just let them know that you're going to have a scout that's going to be leaving early, and they need to make sure that they're signed out of camp, so we really know that they're accounted for when it is time to leave. So the last checkpoint would be to check out with the office.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when you come in, let us know that so we can anticipate that your need, and so we can help that process through so we don't get mixed up.
Okay. And our pack is requiring a parent to stay with each scout just because we're all new to this. So is it similar to the older scout level where the leadership will all be provided by the camp anyway, and we'll just kind of tag along with our scouts and see what they're doing?
First of all, we assign tents based on 4 same-sex youth, 2 same-sex adults in a tent. So you can have 1 to 4 kids, 1 or 2 adults in a tent. So you won't be staying in a tent with your child, but you will be in the same area. If you have 4 tents, they're going to be right next to each other. We do have certain times when we'll send one of our staff out to lead you to a fires or something like that. But other than that, it's really when they do pins in the morning, it's up to them to get to their pin. We do have a bunch of activities for adults while they're there, including climbing. We do some shooting, some biking in the morning. So those are always options for the adults so that they can have some fun also.
And I would just add that the camp staff do a fantastic job of making sure that the scouts and the adults, if you're brand new or not familiar with the program, they'll let you know where you need to be and guide you through the process. So don't feel like you'll be lost or anything like that. They'll take care of, really on a daily basis at each meal, kind of giving you an update on the schedule and providing that information.
And all of our staff is trained. They know where all the events are. So if a kid gets lost, all he has to do is look for a staff member and we'll get him to wherever he needs to be.
Okay, great. So do you assign kids to a tent or do you assign tents to a unit? And then we would assign.
Yeah, basically we'll tell you that, say you have 4 boys or 8 boys, that's 2 tents. Who you put in those 2 tents, we don't care. It's just the 8 boys would be in one of those 2 tents. And the same with the adults. Two per tent. Just understand that the tents you're getting are it just has a wooden platform. There are no beds. So we always suggest that adults might want to bring a cot. The kids' sleeping pad is usually plenty for them. And so, no, it's up to you to assign who goes into which tent, because you know better than us who needs to be separated.
Right. Okay, great, thank you. And we have mixed, I know we got assigned to a mixed site where we have some bring your own tents and some assigned tents. So we just can plan that out among our group.
Yep. When the scout guide who will pick you up in the drive or at the front of camp, he's the person who will take you around and he'll show you in the site what tents are yours. And then you guys get to decide who goes where.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
We had some questions in the chat. Christy, I just finished typing my message and Laura had already beat me to it. So that has been answered for you in terms of bringing your own tent. Tracy, question.
Yeah, I have a leader that getting around camp is going to be kind of challenging, and we're going to Bear Paw. Are there special accommodations we can use for her to get from one area of camp to the other?
Yes, let us know during that session and we will make those accommodations. We have some camp vehicles available if that's needed, or we'll do our best to make sure that we have that availability to get that person where they need to go. So
that's why I made sure we have room. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, I had another hand up. Jenny, I forgot what, I know your name's not Jenny, but I can't remember what you said it was. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's Andy.
Andy.
We have, we're staying at Camp Roccalayo. We have kind of a mixed group that some are staying in one of the theme buildings there. And then there's a few of us that are staying out in tents. My understanding is similar to like what we did with winter camp. There's adults are in kind of separate room and the kids are in another room. As far as the tent though, at that age level, we'll say, as long as it's a parent, are they able to stay in the same tent that they bring? Or do we need to make kids stay together and adults together?
So at the Cub Scout level, families can stay in the same tent. It's different as you get older, but at that level, you can do that. You can also have, as you're suggesting, like we do at Garner Dam, if you had multiple tents out there, you could assign same-sex youth to the same tent if they were in the same age group. So that's also an option. So inside the buildings, Laura is our number crunching guru in terms of getting the right number of adults in the spaces and scouts and those kinds of things. So she crunches all those numbers, and all of that, all the assignments will go out mid-June on that. So if there's an overflow situation, we may have to ask units to provide tents. But if you're planning to bring your own as well, you have that flexibility to do that as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Shannon.
Hi, that raises a question. We're again Cub Scout level, but we have some mixed gender parent youth pairings. And so it's okay for a dad to tent with his daughter, right?
At the Cub Scout level, yes.
Okay. And a mother with her son, same way.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
But if you are at Gardner Dam, we do have the tents that are provided split up into the age and genders. So if they would wanting to spend, stay in the same tent, they would have to provide their own.
Okay,
Yep, that's correct. So the provided tents at Gardner Dam would be same gender and specific to youth, specific to adult. If you had a family that wanted to stay in the same tent, that tent would need to be provided.
okay, thank you.
Yep. Awesome. Any other questions this evening? I'm just taking a look at the chat. I think we've answered all of the questions that I can tell just from a quick scan. Any other questions out there? How can we help you be ready for camp? We are so excited to have all of you attend. Our staffs are coming together. We're nearly complete on staffs being hired, so we're starting to get excited. It's really happening. Tracy, one more question.
It's actually not a question, it's a comment. I just want to let Scott know. My son was in the ATV stuff with you last year at Bear Paw, and him and another scout are excited to do that again. Are you doing it again, or are you having a different leader doing it?
So it will be myself. I am recruiting a few others to assist. So chances are probably pretty good that you'll see me back up there.
Oh, cool. I know last year would you go drifting the corners? Is that what that's called?
There is an exercise that does that. Yep.
Yeah, as they were going right through the middle of camp. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, but he had fun.
Good.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Really appreciate your time tonight. As always, reach out to myself, Laura. We're happy to answer your questions as things come up as you're preparing for camp. Our ultimate goal is for you to have the best experience possible for you and your scouts. And we look forward to seeing you in camp. So thank you very much, and really appreciate your time tonight.